Bermuda, a graceful string of islands set like jewels in the azure sea. The radiant beauty of semi-tropical foliage and sweeping pink coral beaches. Here's Bermuda, England's oldest colony, influenced by colonial ceremonies and royal traditions. Bermuda boasts its own varieties of British sports and British gardens. All year round, Bermuda beckons the traveller to the crown jewel of the Atlantic. Throughout Bermuda, the railway trails are a great way to see the island on foot or by moped. The views are spectacular. Miles of nature paths invite exploring tucked-away vistas. Bermuda in the western Atlantic Ocean is 600 miles from North Carolina, its nearest neighbor. Flying time from Boston and New York is 1.5 hours and less than 3 hours from Atlanta and Toronto. Europeans use London as the gateway city. For a relaxing vacation, travelers enjoy a cruise on ships, setting sail from many East Coast ports, arriving at one of Bermuda's 3 ports, Hamilton, St. George's, or Dockyard. Bermuda is an archipelago of about 150 islands. The 7 largest islands are connected by bridges and causeways. The main island, or Great Bermuda, is only 14 miles long, a little over a mile across at its widest point. Today, Bermuda depends on tourism for more than half of its economy. Yet the way of life here retains its distinctions. Since the 1920s, Bermuda shorts have become the country's trademark. Even businessmen wear the shorts and knee socks year-round. Bermuda was formed nearly 200 million years ago by an underwater volcano. On land, evidence of the island's development remains visible in unique layers of limestone and coral. Early explorers on wood vessels were frequently shipwrecked on the perilous rocks. In 1609, an Englishman, Sir George Somers, set sail aboard the Sea Venture with provisions for the Virginia colony at Jamestown. But a fierce hurricane beached the passengers, and they remained on St. George's Island for almost a year before they continued their journey to Jamestown. When the story of the shipwreck reached England, William Shakespeare was inspired to write The Tempest. Colonization by the British Crown began in 1612. At the far eastern end of the colony, St. George's, the oldest settlement, was Bermuda's original capital until 1815. Today, St. George's provides a panoramic view from St. David's Lighthouse. In quaint St. George's, pastel buildings and old shops guard narrow streets and alleys. In the heart of town, King Square, a town crier still bellows the news and calls all to join him in reliving Bermuda's history. The stocks and pillory still stand, along with the ducking stool, accepted forms of punishment for those who broke the rules or laws 300 years ago. Along Featherbed Alley, a Gutenberg printing press is still operated, producing a weekly summary of St. George's town news. Sir George Somers so loved the island that when he died in 1610, his nephew carried his body back to England, and his heart was returned to Bermuda and buried in a beautiful little park, Somers Garden. A tribute to Sir George's dedication and persistence is a bronze statue of the leader of the company first to set foot on Bermuda. Close by, venerable St. Peter's Church, built in 1617, is the oldest in-use Anglican church in the Western Hemisphere. The invaluable precious communion silver includes a silver chalice presented by King William III in 1697. The old cedar altar and the 3-tiered pulpit are all fascinating. A stone font dates back to the 16th century. On St. George's historic streets, the visitors see the oldest building in Bermuda, the Old State House, the third oldest behind Iceland and England. Here, Bermuda's Parliament met from 1622 to 1815. The Carriage Museum on Water Street displays a rare collection of vehicles commonly driven by islanders before the arrival of the automobile in 1946. Two main forts dot the far east coast. Gates Fort is a great vantage point for watching cruise ships navigate through the narrow Town Cut. North on Parry Road, Fort St. Catherine remains one of St. George's most popular attractions. Guarding the main channel and its ships, this fort never fired a single shot. But what history has been written since its beginnings in 1614? Permission is required to explore the oldest abode in Bermuda, the Carter House, more than 3 centuries old and rich in tradition. For the capital to be more centrally located, it was moved from St. George's in 1815 to Hamilton. A delightful ferry ride into Bermuda's only city reveals a magnificent view of historic, colorful Front Street. 18th and 19th century buildings serve as prime examples of Bermuda's fascinating architecture. Front Street, where the liners and freighters dock. Queen Street and Reed Street form the shopping center. A kaleidoscope of pastel shades makes a colorful backdrop for this country's thriving business and economic hub. 2 centuries old, Hamilton is the heart of Bermuda's life, providing a rich dichotomy of past and present. Here are delightful restaurants, offering delicious food in a fine variety of establishments, from outdoor cafes to 5-star restaurants. Every visitor should browse through the arcade of small shops displaying Bermudian treasures, with prices as much as 40% less than in the United States. Towering above Hamilton is the landmark Cathedral of the Most Holy Trinity, built of native stone with the added use of stone imported from Scotland, Normandy, Nova Scotia, and Midwest Indiana. This neo-Gothic structure soars majestically with arches and elaborate stained glass, and within, a mixture of European and Bermudian influence. Bermuda is blessed with more than 1,500 varieties of trees, flowers, and shrubs. Victoria Park was originally known as Dean's Bottom and was refurbished in the 1880s in honor of the Queen's Golden Jubilee. Close by, the lovely Parleville Gardens draw natives and tourists for picnics and relaxation. At the entrance of Parleville Gardens, the library and Bermuda Historical Museum are in a fine old house dating from the 19th century, when this was the home of William Perrot. The Bermuda Historical Society Museum has interesting collections of antiques and pictures that reveal the changing face of Hamilton. Next door, visitors purchase stamps in the Perrot Post Office. Here, the first postmaster of Bermuda, William Perrot, issued the country's first postal stamp in 1848. Highlight of Hamilton's centre of government is the seat of Parliament, Sessions House, of extraordinary architecture. And City Hall is nearby. A short distance from busy Hamilton streets, the 36-acre Botanical Gardens invite the visitor to peaceful paths lined with beautiful plantings. On the West End, the Old Royal Navy Dockyard, Bermuda's largest fort, includes the Maritime Museum with exhibits honoring Bermuda's seafaring heritage. As we would expect, on display are sunken treasures recovered from many shipwrecks. Also in the dockyard area, an art gallery features local paintings and sculpture. And in a pottery factory, the potters illustrate their skills and their beautiful works are on sale. Tourists may be lucky to catch the beat retreat ceremony at one of 3 locations, where each month the Bermuda Regiment performs this remarkable 16th century ritual. As you travel south through the island, Boaz and Watford Islands, you'll see a series of majestic coves and inlets. Regattas are a regular event in the Great Sound. Nearby, the tiny village of Somerset is a sleepy hamlet lined with small shops and seaside restaurants. Down Somerset Road, the 18th century St. James Church represents a simplistic artistry. As part of the fortifications to make Bermuda the Gibraltar of the West, the Duke of Wellington commissioned the building of Scour Hill Fort, one of 13 forts built in the mid-19th century. In Southampton Parish, from the Gibbs Hill Lighthouse, visitors see a magnificent view of the islands. The lighthouse is one of the oldest cast iron structures in the world. 185 steps lead the visitor to the top, for an unobstructed view of the West End, Great Sound, and beautiful Hamilton Harbour. Passing through Southampton, Warwick and Paget parishes, take South Road to Bermuda's famous South Shore beaches. The ever-changing turquoise sea gently lapping the pink coral sand. Jagged cliffs invite photography in one of the most photographed beaches in the world, Horseshoe Bay. Morning horseback rides in the fresh morning breezes make for a memorable experience. A short distance across the island on Harbour Road are magnificent views of Hamilton Harbour. Just above on the hillsides, grand historic homes. Their tiered roof design prompted Mark Twain to coin the phrase, icing on the cake. A home with an artistic history surrounds Rosecote, home of Bermuda's unofficial artist laureate, Alfred Birdsey. Group tours of National Trust properties and private homes may be arranged at Waterville, a 17th century home, which is now the headquarters of the Bermuda National Trust. On the tour is Verdmont, a private mansion built in the 17th century. Now a museum, furnished with handsome English and Bermudian antiques, the China coffee service is believed to have been a gift from Napoleon to President James Madison. In Devonshire Parish, visitors enjoy a glass-blowing studio. Watch as master craftsmen work wonders with an old and delicate art. Cool dress is advised. On Middle Road, the old Devonshire church has been rebuilt since an explosion destroyed the earlier structure on Easter Sunday, 1970. A fixture since 1624, Old Devonshire Church owns rare relics, a cedar pulpit and Dutch candelabra, a fine cross, communion table and cedar armchairs, and a cedar screen. Smith and Hamilton parishes surround picturesque Harrington Sound. Flats Village slumbers quietly along the only entrance to the Sound. The inlet may have once been a smuggler's haven. Also at Flats Inlet, the Bermuda Aquarium, Museum and Zoo display tropical fish, harbour seals, and other animals and exhibits. On the North Shore, in Hamilton Parish, are numerous rock formations, coves, and more secluded, quiet beaches. A walk on the trails here is enhanced by the sweet scent of the Bermuda perfumery. Fresh flowers are grown, cultivated, and expertly transformed into unique fragrances marketed exclusively on the island. Winding around Harrington Sound, explore the mysterious and intriguing world of the Crystal and Leamington Caves. Between the caves is Tom Moore's Tavern, built in the 17th century as a private home. Once a calabash tree grew here, but has since been destroyed by a hurricane. The tree remains immortalized by Irish poet Tom Moore. Birdwatchers can find no finer area for birdwatching than the 60-acre Spittal Pond. Here is where visitors discover the earliest evidence of civilization in Bermuda, Spanish Rock in 1543. Nearby on the south shore is a natural wonder, natural arches, carved out by years of ocean waves. A list of the world's best golf courses may begin with Bermuda. This island has more golf courses per square mile than anywhere else on Earth. 8 golf facilities spread out all over Bermuda, so the golfer is never more than a few minutes away from teeing off. No matter where the golfer decides to play, the view is guaranteed to be beautiful. But beauty has its price. Bermuda's golf courses are rated as some of the world's most difficult, with well-bunkered and protected greens, narrow fairways, and ever-present sea breezes. In Bermuda, the desire for a great match may not come from your competition, but from the challenge and beauty of the courses themselves. Visitors take advantage of a wide variety of water sports. From parasailing to scuba diving and everything imaginable in between, Bermuda knows how to take advantage of its clear azure seas. Nightlife in Bermuda ranges from the hottest discos to lively Bermudian stage shows. It's just beautiful. Traditional English pub life to specialty cruises with food, bands and exciting tropical limbo shows provide a wide variety of entertainment sure to please. Bermuda embodies all of the comforts of a modern world, while maintaining pride in its rich history. The island, blessed with natural beauty, attracts thousands of people year after year. What brings them back are the Bermudian people, friendly and proud of their heritage. Bermuda, a secluded paradise. Discover it for yourself.
Travelview International is pleased to present Travel Tips by Berlitz. Berlitz, the world's leading publisher of print travel guides.
Here's one thing you don't have to worry about in Bermuda: driving. They won't let you rent a car. Only the islanders can have cars, one to a family. It's the only way to keep the traffic to manageable proportions. But there are plenty of taxis. You can find them lined up at the airport and the docks and at the big hotels. They can also be ordered by phone. An alternative is the bus service, which covers Bermuda from tip to tip and right on schedule, too. You'll need the exact fare. The romantic way to get around is by horse and carriage. A likely place to find a vacant surrey is along Front Street in Hamilton. Finally, you can take matters in hand and rent a bike. Here they're called push bikes, to distinguish them from mopeds, known here as auxiliary cycles or livery cycles. You don't need a license to rent a moped, but remember to wear your crash helmet and, above all, drive on the left. The speed limit is 20 miles an hour. Before you start putt-putting around the island, a word about the immigration formalities. On arrival, citizens of the U.S. and Canada have to show proof of nationality. Citizens of other countries should present a valid passport. 3 weeks is the standard time tourists are allowed to stay. If you're lucky enough to be able to spend more than 3 weeks, tell the immigration official your plans. Permission is usually granted on the spot. Speaking of formalities, things may seem more dressy than at home. It's that British reserve. At the hotels and even on the street, immodest clothing is frowned upon. No bathing suits or bare feet, and, would you believe, ladies are specifically forbidden to wear hair curlers in public. In the evening, in hotels and better restaurants, gentlemen are expected to wear jackets and ties. One place where the rules don't apply, the beach. But since Bermuda is 1,000 miles north of the West Indies, don't expect to do much swimming in midwinter. That's when you'll need a topcoat or raincoat and a sweater. The summer season is roughly from May to mid-November. In practical matters, one of Bermuda's strong points is communications. There are public telephones everywhere, and they work. As for overseas service, it's first rate. You can dial direct to most places in the world. The mail service is efficient too. Normally, letters and postcards sent abroad at surface rates go by air, but airmail postage gets priority. Post offices in every parish are open Monday through Friday. The main post office in Hamilton works Saturday mornings as well. Banks are open Monday through Friday from 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. For last-minute financial problems before the weekend, they're open an extra hour from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. on Fridays. The currency here is the Bermuda dollar, which is pegged to the U.S. dollar. That means no money exchange headaches, but you may wind up with a mixture of American and Bermuda bills and coins. Be sure to convert your Bermuda money back before you leave the island. Of course, you may have no money left to worry about after your shopping spree in Bermuda. The scene is sophisticated. Luxury imports selling themselves. Low-key salespeople are there to give advice, not to push you to buy. But how to spot a bargain? The wise shopper checks out prices at home before splurging on a trip. Among areas of interest, cameras, china, crystal, watches, and fashions. By the way, there's no haggling in Bermuda. The price tag says it all. Shopping hours are Monday through Saturday from about 9 to 5 or 5:30. Some stores open again in the evening when cruise liners are in port. Hotels often add a service charge to the bill, so there's no need to tip porters, bellboys, maids, or doormen, except in unusual cases. In many restaurants, a 15% gratuity is tacked onto the bill, so no further tip is required. In the case of taxi drivers or hairdressers, though, a 15% tip is about right. Finally, the water. In Bermuda, you can drink the water right from the tap. It's mid-ocean rainwater, and it's delicious. But don't waste it. Put Bermuda in your pocket with Berlitz, the world's leading travel guide. More than 100 destinations on 6 continents, plus Berlitz phrasebooks and pocket dictionaries. For the joy of travel, go Berlitz.